Oh, I guess the one was supposed to be go. All right. So when we last left our heroes here in Barovia, one of the things that happened is you guys had your first foray into the woods, the Stolage Woods, and you came to realize that there's a reason people tell you not to go in the woods. Things are very dangerous in there. Um, Eliana bumped into some creatures that reminded her of her grandmother, some stories that she had heard in the past. And even with the forewarning and prior knowledge, she was still unable to shake the braying of the bellhounds that were after them in the woods. Astesian had his first foray with death here in a long time, and luckily the fight ended swiftly and efficiently. Nobody ended up losing their lives, but I think the group came together stronger for it, and you learned a little bit more about the dangers of the woods if you venture off the road. You also picked up some new spells and rituals that you gained a little bit more insight into Barovia, some of the wards that people have been placing to keep these roads and the lands of Barovia, the villages, safe as they continue to live in these dark and trying times. And you were just happening upon the Sarpool Falls as we closed out the Sarpool encampment to meet with Madame Ava. Did I miss anything?
Seems right.
I think
No.
that's everything.
That was it.
I guess you also met some of the werefolk that Strahd has
It's true.
emplaced into the land, and
They
you
got
decided they got robbed, and you decided not to take up their offer of escort. So there are a few things that happened and a few things that didn't happen, but we'll see how all that turns out today.
Yeah.
Anybody need to be filled in on anything else?
No, sir.
We were closing in on the camp, right? When we last left.
Yeah, you guys were encroaching upon the Sarpool encampment,
Gotcha.
so we'll pop on over there. And I think I've got everybody on the map here. We got Bluto, we got Arabelle, we got Balthazar.
The most important member, really.
Right.
We're talking about Blue. He's the most important.
Balthazar.
Balthazar.
I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
was going to say, without a doubt, it's Bluto. I don't think you guys would have made it here without him in his soft pants, you know?
I think to start off, honestly, like usually how like Nikia usually covers her face, she's actually not gonna cover her face this time. She's gonna pretty much walk in kind of proud.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
You feel
Eliana,
comfortable amongst your people?
At least amongst the women.
she'll follow Dr. Takesh's lead. She would know the lay of the land, I think, a little bit better.
So honestly, I think if we just approach from the front.
Really, really quick before we approach, can I do a perception check to see if there are any crows around after I, squawked at that one, or are there any following us or anything?
Oh, that's actually a very good idea. Why don't you go ahead and give me the perception check?
Yeah, where the crows
Give me a
at?
good idea.
You don't seem to notice any that seem to be paying attention to you. I mean, you notice some wildlife, but it doesn't
Not
seem like
spy
anyone's.
crows.
It doesn't seem like any are watching you and make you feel uneasy.
Feel better now.
And Ileana's still holding Arabelle as well. Correct.
Balthazar is still pulling the pies.
At a baby. I guess like rounding the tree bend and actually seeing them, open arms, Hail and well met, sisters.
And it's just getting to the later parts of the evening. As you remember, one of the reasons you cut through the woods was so that you could avoid getting there after dark. So the road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted and muddy path through the trees. Uh, Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of the comings and goings of wagons. The of mist, the canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to the black clouds and boiling far above. And there is a clearing here, and next to the river that widens to a small lake and several hundred feet across. You see 5 colorful round tents, and each tent is about 10 feet in diameter, and they're pitched outside of a ring with 4 barrel top wagons. A much larger tent stands on the shore closer to the lake, and its sagging form is thin. Near the tent, you see a bunch of people. They're there having conversations, and they're sitting around the fire and sharing drinks. And there's one person kind of playing an accordion and kind of merrymaking. And there's mournful strains of the accordion that kind of clash with the singing of the brightly clad figures around the bonfire. And a footpath continues beyond the encampment, meandering north between the river and the forest edge. This is a very stark contrast of what you saw when you're at Luvash's camp, where it was very damp and dismal. The camp was very unkept, and people were just kind of laid about everywhere. They were drunk beyond all reason. And here you see there's women dancing around the fire, and it's very jovial, and it's very light and live, and it's a fun and enjoyable seeming environment as you approach.
Yeah, again with my greeting and kind of like bowing with open arms, and then like honestly stepping out of the way so that Arabelle or Arabella, are we saying
Arabelle.
Arabelle, to basically get like have everybody get a better view of Arabelle. We come to this young child's family. We were hoping to find shelter at least for the night. We also heard that us being sisters, and then like kind of like showing a little bit of her skin and some of like the family like familial markings of the Tekish family. We were hoping for some information as well.
And the people of the camp don't seem fazed by the fact that you're here, almost as if they knew you were coming. One woman stops from dancing around the fire, and she just kind of, in a very graceful gesture, like gestures you to come and sit by the fire with the rest of everyone else. And as you guys kind of filter around the fire and sit down in between all the ladies that are here, it stops playing and the women stop dancing, and they all like sit down like as if it's story time in like preschool. Like everybody's kind of sitting around the fire waiting for a tale.
Ikea like kind of like gestures everybody to come in.
So before I go in, I want to like hold Bluto at the edge of camp, just so that they could deny that they welcomed him to the camp, you know? Just so I want to like get the approval of him coming here prior to us sort of forcing him on them, as that was sort of what we decided as a group. We didn't want to like put them in any danger, you know, unwillingly.
And again, she just continues to like gesture towards the fire, like to tell everybody to have a seat. Like she'll gesture her hand towards one of you and gesture towards a place for you to sit next to the fire, and gesture her hand towards another and gesture a place for you to sit next to the fire.
So I guess would Soleil feel like this is her basically saying it's fine?
Yeah, she's giving you the go ahead without actually speaking the words.
Okay. Then yeah, I'd go in with Bluto, just keeping him near me.
Nike would know about this particular group, right? Especially Madame Ava. Madame Ava is known throughout the other families, correct?
Yes, Madame Ava is a very well-known soothsayer. Like, she reads the future.
So okay, so like comfortably, like Nike would know, like and probably reassure Soleil, like they probably already know that we are here and know about Pluto's issues.
Eh,
So
even if they knew we were coming, I'd still at least like to get the confirmation they're okay with it.
understandable. Well, evening, sisters. It is good to see you are okay.
And as you're speaking, one woman like gestures to you to like silence yourself. Like, she places one single finger over your lips and just like slides her finger slowly around the top of your lip to the bottom of your lip, and gestures for you to sit.
Soft fingers, okay? So, question: hotness level is put me on a 10 scale. What's she at?
Oh, this woman's a solid 7.
I mean,
Okay.
are we sure about that? Close.
With enough alcohol, she'll be an 8.
She's
Need a will save?
definitely given like a young Zendaya.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's very pretty. Okay.
And this one woman steps to the fire and she reaches into a little pouch and she pulls out some herbs and spices and throws them on the fire. The fire is burning in an orange color. And when she throws this powder onto the fire, it becomes a very bright and luminescent green, almost like neon. And the crowd just kind of like hushes over. And she kind of locks eyes with Lucia as she begins to tell this tale, as if she's teaching her a lesson. She says, "A mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remembered him like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you are standing. A very charismatic man he was, and he thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the Devil Strahd. He stirred them with his thoughts of a revolt, and he bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. A few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. Their battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to the precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. Yet the wizard's magic, he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the Devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down the river to search for the wizard's body to see if he had anything of value, and like the women kind of laugh. But the river Ivlis had already spirited him away. And then the lights stopped from being that green color and kind of glow orange again. And she turns and she looks at Ileana and she nods, and then she goes back to her seat on the fire around the campfire area. And then this woman here, standing furthest, gestured towards Madame Eva's tent. And of course, again, she gestures with her hand towards each one of you to like go to Madame Eva's tent.
Looking at the one who did the whole finger thing on me, I guess. Kind of like doing like that quick bow nod and then like standing up and then I guess just following.
And Arabelle kind of stands up to go with you, but someone takes her hand and like continues to have her sit by the fire. And Bluto's kind of standing up to get ready to do the same thing, and they have him sit back down by the fire.
Whoever grabbed Bluto, I'll just kind of like give a short nod, almost like a bow. Essentially, I'm like, all right, he's your problem now. I have
Nice.
handed off the prisoner.
There's the prisoner exchange right then and there.
Yep.
Um,
God
I
damn.
guess.
Right.
So many auras.
Jeez.
So as you guys enter
Stefan. Yeah.
Madame Ava's tent, there's a bunch of incense that's like burning inside the tent, and as you step inside, the tent from the outside looks like it would only seat probably 5 or 6 of you, but once you enter the tent, there's nearly 20 or 30 feet of space inside. There's plenty of space for you all to sit around this table, and on the center of the table there's a crystal ball and a deck of cards, and there's many candles that are lit, and you can tell that all these candles have been lit for a while because there's like stacks and stacks of wax underneath these candles.
I guess we would all probably sit down, or at least I would.
Could I just do like a detect magic just to see what kind of magic is transforming this area? Just out of pure curiosity.
Yeah, feel free.
You just tell us.
Just a sec.
Man, I'm pretty sure, like, for some people who aren't used to the incense, it's probably oppressive.
Grew up in the church, dog.
I feel
Yeah,
like
these smells all smell like very familiar to you, specifically Soleil. Like, you know, when a priest has like a censer ball,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got like those same sages and oils inside of it to kind of purify the area.
Yeah.
Like, it seems that there's a barrier of magic that you're picking up on, Ileana, that's protecting this area from being scryed upon through the incense and everything that's there. And then on top of the barrier magic that's stopping this place from being scryed upon, the magic in the tent is sort of similar to what you have in a bag of holding. Like, this is a pocket dimension that you guys have kind of entered.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Like, this doesn't exist in the land of Barovia. This exists outside of Barovia, inside this particular tent.
It's its own little demi-plane.
Yeah, that's why the outside of the tent looks like it's like, 8 feet tall, but when you get on the inside, it's like there's 30 feet of space in there.
Is there any relation to the bag that ate Pluto's wife or whatever that was?
You're not picking up on that.
Okay, just checking.
That's a good check, though. So,
butter vibes.
as you guys are like looking over at Madame Ava, you gotta try to add her to the stage thing again.
Yeah, before sitting down, like Nikea does do like the appropriate courtesy, bows low. Thanks her for the blessing, and
Whatever gestures the doctor is making, Ileana's trying to
I
follow
was saying
suit.
Lucia would do the same thing because Nakia is why she's here.
and then just wait for her to give us like the go ahead to sit.
And as you enter the tent, one of the things she does is like address each of you by your name before you even speak it. And she's like, Nakia, please have a seat. Estigian, Ileana, Lucia, Soleil, Tervez, welcome to Barovia. I've been expecting you. And as she says that, she has like all these cards on the table, and she starts reaching for them and flipping them over. And she starts telling you guys about bits of your past. She says, Nakia, I understand why you left. I don't understand why you came back. There's nothing for you here in Barovia. All of the Takash are gone. If you came back to find someone, you've only come back searching for death. Estigian, Many birds fly through here, and the two you're looking for aren't of the same feather of yours. They are here, but I fear they are not the same people you left. Liliana, your Order de Nord has come here, and he has struck Strahd, and Strahd has struck him down. As far as the cards are telling, I don't believe he is here with us again, or he is here with us in Barovia. Lucia, your tales are to be told, but you must first leave the lands of Barovia to tell them. Once you are gone, your story will be sung. Soleil, Tervez, the great dragon has sent you here for a reason. But the bones of another dragon need to be returned to their prior resting place before your tale can continue.
You mean none of my family are alive?
And she continues to like flip over the cards, and as she's like giving you these readings, you notice that her eyes are cloudy, as if she's gone blind a while ago. And she doesn't even see what's written on the cards, but for some reason she knows what's on the cards. And she's like, I fear that you are the last of the living Takesh.
What happened?
Strahd's wrath is that of the devil's wrath, and he does not like to be slighted.
Probably this is like at that moment, like she does kind of like cover up her face, but her body gets tense, and it's pretty obvious. Like she's not trying to hide it. Like I guess if there was like a pressure, she's pissed. She's more than pissed. Like she was the. So she kind of like looks at Madame Ava and she's like, then who sent me the letters to come home?
And she looks like she's puzzled for a second, but she reaches for that deck of Turcoa cards, and she flips another one, and she says, this card is the devil. This Strahd himself that's...
You're cutting in and out on me, bro.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're still got out in now for me.
Let me try to log in and out, see if we can get that cleared up.
For sure.
All I got was the devil card, and it was equal Strahd. Did y'all hear anything else?
No,
No, sir.
That's all I heard.
Now, from these lands of Barovia, I want out. I'm about to throw a freaking dagger at this devil playing card.
Yeah, don't do that. She did not do anything.
No,
I know.
the card, not her.
Yeah, the card. Telling her I'm gonna take the devil down if I gotta get out of here.
Oh. I thought you said devils of the card. I was like,
No, the devil card
Yikes.
itself.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I'm on my phone now, so forgive me. I'm going to be muting and unmuting. Try to stop you guys from hearing my dogs, kids, and everything in the house. So yeah, she flips over another, and
You cut out again.
We're still having problems, Gretel.
Man's internet. Somebody's downloading shit on Steam or something.
Got out super hard.
did it break out again?
Oh, you got
Yeah.
out for a while, man.
dude, if you've been talking this whole time, we hadn't heard you.
So she flips over the card, and she says, "This card is the devil. It must have been Strahd himself that sent for you.
If there is a way to kill this devil, I will find it. There has to be a way. I cannot leave this place. My gift as the Vistani people has been taken away from me. Once I came into the clouds, the mist, I have not been able to leave.
And then she pulls another card, and she says, "This one, the fool."
Sounds about right.
She says, "This journey you go on might be a foolish task, but together, I think we can bring justice." Strahd made a promise to the Vistani people, and he broke that promise, and he eliminated the Kosh.
How would we do it?
And she reaches for her deck again, and she starts reshuffling the deck of cards. She says, "Pay close attention. I'm about to read your journey." Work with me, not against me.
Sounds right.
All right, you guys should have flipped screens.
Yes, sir.
Let me turn off Madam Ava. There we go. And
In the dark.
Yeah, so I'm just.
oh yeah, every time. All right, if I place all of you guys on the screen, we
Oh,
guys
this
able to
one's
see.
Yeah.
Now I can see.
You just need
Good.
one.
Oh, I just one.
Yeah, we share the
Okay.
tokens, so share vision.
Hopefully the screen isn't too busy.
That's
The first card she draws, she places on the left of this cross symbol. She says, "This one is the merchant." This card tells of history, knowledge of the ancient, and will help you better understand your enemy. The thing you seek lies with the dead, under the mountains of gold coins. And then she flips the second card. She says, "This one is the guild member." This card tells of a powerful force for good, a protection, a holy symbol of great hope. I see a room full of bottles. If this tomb is of a guild member. And she flips the third card, and she says, "This one, the hooded one. This is a sacred card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. I see a faceless god. He awaits you at the end of a long and winding road, deep in the mountains." And she flips another one. This card sheds light on who will help you greatly in this battle against the darkness. This is the Dark Lord. And worst of all truths, you must face this evil in this land alone. And then she finally flips over the last card. She says, "This is the mist. Your enemy is a creature of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. But this card can't see where the evil lurks. The mists have obscured it all." And you guys can reference this 'cause I made it a scene, so you guys can take a look at it whenever you feel like you're getting a little turned around, and I can try to clear some things up for you if you need to.
For sure. Cut that down.
Can you give that description of the mist card one more time?
The mist is your enemy is the creature of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. And then she flips over the card that's the mist, and it says, the card can't see where the evil lurks. The mist has obscured all.
So after that reading, Ileana kind of looks up at Madame Ava, and she says, Madame Ava, a question. You said the one I was searching for here is no longer in Barovia. That was your reading? That they have been struck down? That they no longer are in Barovia?
I fear my language might have confused you. I sense that he's here, but he is not as you remember him.
I see. This is
Mountains
probably
of the
worse.
Mountains of the Gold Coin. Am I familiar with that term?
You being of Barovia would know that more than likely that's going to be in Strahd Castle.
Where the dead are. That makes the most sense.
What is the mountain that was being referred to? Do you know of such a place?
The particular mountain of gold coins, which would probably be under Strahd's castle.
I believe this may be where the dragon that we search for is, brother.
And then the guild member, a holy symbol of great hope. You see a dark room full of bottles. The tomb of a guild member. Madam Ava, do you know of this place of this powerful force of good? This tomb of a guild member?
I would assume that this would be a mercantile of sorts. People who create are usually in guilds. An artisan you might be seeking.
Could I do a society to check to like see if we know of any
We are searching for
guilds
their,
particular guilds that are within Barovia?
we're searching for their tomb, right? This is someone who's passed.
Right, but like we would still want to know where like the guild would be, and
That's
then
what I'm saying. Like,
we can.
we're trying to see if we know anyone notable who had died that was a guild member. That's what we're trying to do.
That's what I'm assuming, because that's what the last one, or at least that one is talking about.
Give me a society. And since you're of Barovia, you can give me an advantage on that one.
Thank God, because here we go with the shit rolls again, or the bad rolls. Sorry, and it got worse.
Oh, you're sad to say it.
That's just how it is. My skill rolls are garbage, even though I get like plus 11.
In Ileana roll, or was that just for Dr.
Yours would just be a normal roll. You've only been here for 6 months, but you might have figured some information.
Okay, I didn't know if I could roll it out for it. I'll go ahead and give it a roll.
So the one thing that comes to mind when she says that it's an artisan of sorts. One thing that you've always seen when you've been in Barovia is that the Wizards of Wine has been providing wine for all of Barovia. And when you think about bottles, you think about the wine, and you say to yourself, well, probably the Wizards of Wine.
Yeah, she'll bring that up. What about the Wizards of Wine? It seems to be the biggest name I can think of in Barovia.
It would make the most sense for a dark room full of bottles. And that is on the other side of Barovia. It would take us a while.
Of course.
But it could be a useful tool for you or your brother. A holy symbol of great hope that could be useful.
Well, I wouldn't look that, I wouldn't turn that down.
This is giving us a roadmap to find greater power. So
Yeah, it seems like we need anything we can get.
We'll need this power to face the evil in this world.
she kind of pulls out a map that we have. The next one is the card of power. A sword of sunlight. That sounds wonderful for one of you.
I feel as if I already have one. Why not another?
Why
You
not?
do fight with two hands, don't you?
Why
do.
not two?
Why not both?
You have the dawn. You must bring the dusk.
There's a mountain here.
Dope line. Take an inspiration for that one.
She kind of points at the Mount Gakis. Maybe we may be able to find somewhere here. There is a place here over near Gakis. The Amber Temple. It is on the way to the winery.
The temple of we within our 6 months would we have traversed that area, or would it be we would not have had any reason to go there?
That would have been off the beaten path.
Okay.
You probably wouldn't have found any reason to go up there in the last 6 months.
Okay. It's just is there anything of particular note at this temple that we'd be concerned about?
And Madame Ava is spreads the cards out on the table again, and she flips them and flips them and flips them and flips them. And it's like every time she flips the card, you see the devil, the dead, the
Well,
undead.
I suppose we are in Barovia, that is to be expected.
That would mean we would have to fight something of Strahd. Which does not make me feel sad or fear. It makes me kind of happy that we can take something from him, if needed. Interesting. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle of darkness. The worst of all truths. You must face the evil of this land alone. I assume we must have to, for the fourth card, the Dark Lord, we must find a way to conquer this evil with our own strengths. And we know the mist. We know the mist obscures his vileness, his evil. We know where he is.
There's much preparation that must be done.
Faith without works is dead, and we are no zombies.
Agreed. And I choose not to be someone's wife and be turned into something wicked and abominable.
Madame Ava, another question if I can. said there was one, or the story that was given to us was of a wizard that led a rebellion against Strahd, yes?
Yes.
What was his folly? Why did his rebellion fail? I may have missed it in the story, the nuance of it.
This wizard's failure is he didn't rally the people behind him. The Barovians are a fickle people, and you cannot fight the land without the people.
She kind of nods her head and gives a very deep bow. Thank you for your wisdom, Madam Ava.
Madam Eva, if it would be okay if we could rest our bones here for the night, be with the sisters, eat, share stories. We would like to be gone by the morning. And we also brought Annabelle with us as well to meet her mother.
This I have foreseen.
Wondering if she should stay here with you and the sisters, or if she must go back home.
I only see the things. I cannot tell you how to wield them.
You are the leader of the camp. It is up to you, is it not?
In this matter, it is the decision that you must make.
Well, I think we've already made our vote in that case.
So we can consult with the child's mother to get her opinion.
That is what I would like as well. Do you...
If she is sound of mind.
I would like to meet her mother if that is okay, madam.
And Madam Ava takes 2 more cards, and she places one that is the maiden, and she places another that is the knight, and she slides the 2 cards towards you, and she's like, a decision must be made.
Is she giving me that decision or us?
She slides it to the group.
And we're supposed to be deciding on the cards here?
Is there wisdom with these cards, madam?
She says you must choose the maiden, or you must choose the knight. Who will protect the princess?
Huh.
Would it be possible to do a religious check to take a moment of prayer for the decision?
Of course.
I want to try to assist. Oh, YOLO.
You can roll the assist, and if you do a good assist, then you can get the advantage if you want. Yeah, you can roll that advantage. Roll it again if you want to.
Double 21s. Blackjack for everyone.
Would attempting to glean meaning from the cards be like an occultism check?
It would be an occultism check.
I'd like to try that.
Go for it.
Triple 21s.
So what you guys are noticing in the theme of the Taroka deck, and with that original as well, the knight seems to represent Lubosh in this scenario, and the maiden seems to represent the mother.
Well, duh.
Right.
But what does it mean?
Yeah, I was trying to glean more, I guess.
Guess we didn't roll high enough, you guys.
Yeah.
Trying to glean
Yeah,
which
so-
is the correct decision.
Or what the consequence, I guess what the consequences of could be. Yeah, I suppose we should still talk to Bella's mother to see what she has to say, if anything.
And I guess
Or is
you
Madam
should
Ava
pray to
saying
your
we have
God.
to choose like right now before we walk out there?
You guys can take the cards with you if you want to. She's not stopping you from walking out of the tent, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, it's like if we're gonna be like, let's go check with Mama.
Yeah, so
make
then
sure
do we
she's
like
normal.
when we make a decision, do we bring back the card like we choose night?
You have a choice to make.
All right. Well, we talked to the father. Let's go talk to the mother.
Ileana will give another bow and step out the tent.
All right, so you guys step out the tent, and all those smells and everything that were kind of overwhelming you inside there
I actually
dissipate
want
as
to
you
ask.
step back out.
I actually want to ask Madam Ava when everybody else is gone.
Don't you dare! I was gonna be the last one in here. I got questions about my Tengu fellow mates.
All right, I'll let you speak first then.
All right. So, Ava, you had mentioned that Rose and Frost's feathers might not be as what they were. Does that mean they're drenched in blood, or have they been changed?
Both.
No. I don't believe you.
And she says, Feather has both a downy softness and a firm stiffness. Some are for flight, and some are to protect you in the wintertime. But each feather has its purpose.
But why did we get stuck here? All we were doing was flying over to another land.
Each feather has its purpose.
Stay away from my feathers. So, I guess, Ava, my final question, are you telling me that Rose and Frost are more likely by the side of Strahd right now?
Rose and Frost have went down different flight paths.
Oh, no.
But I'm told that all birds know their way home. Sometimes they just need to get pointed in the right direction.
Would you say they're homeward bound?
I have a feeling with that I'm going to have a face-to-face confrontation against both of them.
Put you together, bird of a feather, flock together.
The Flying V.
Just the matter one-liners.
Doesn't mean they're all good though.
Shotgun approach.
Exactly.
If you throw enough at the wall, something's gonna stick, right?
That's right.
Right.
Something. Well, I guess for me, that's about all my questions, Ava. Obviously, I must take this into my hands with my group.
When the time comes, Madam Ava, will you be ready to exact justice on the darkness of Barovia?
And Madam Ava is kind of, her hands are like shaking, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And she flips over a card, and this card shows the hand of death. And she says, I fear that I won't be here for this fight.
What of our sisters, the women?
And she says to you, you must choose the maiden or the knight.
The maiden, is it? It is. protect their own. What do you know of the elves?
Another slight against Strahd.
Do you think they could gather their strengths once more if the opportunity rises?
Given the right motivation, an ant can move a mountain.
Any I can't remember the information about the elves. They originally fought against Strahd, right?
Yes. Because it was a similar situation with Casimir's sister. Strahd came
that's
calling,
right.
and they didn't give her up.
That's right. Okay. Does he still have any family back in over with Luvash?
Only the males. And remember, all their ears were docked.
Right. Thank you, Madam Ava, for your knowledge and wisdom. Please rest. Thank you for your blessing. She bows low. And then she walks out.
My friends, this will be an unpopular decision, but Madame Ava believes that she will not last much longer. I don't think it would be wise to leave her here. What will happen to this camp?
a new elder will be made. That is
But-
what will happen.
Will
We're
it
a bit quick to judge the
at the
character
table?
of the entire camp.
Trust me, there is someone already being groomed to lead next. We must ask around, gather the information, and see if we can gain allies here. And if Arabella stays here, we may find a way to either persuade the camp of men or at least the elves to rise up again.
I think if I'm not reading into the tea leaves too deeply, it would seem as if we have a choice as to who our allies are for the final fight.
And we do not want the men to be a part of our final fight, but they will choose Strahd. We already know Madame Ava wants justice for my family.
So far from what I've seen, I would prefer to have my allies come from this camp.
I am in agreement.
Of course. And they are prettier to look at.
Golden ratio.
Here at some point, we will have to learn to work in the darkness.
Mm.
And we'll need the night on our side.
I feel as though we're so late here, we should not worry about the darkness. You as well, my bright friend.
Yeah, you're sneaky
know.
enough for us all, brother.
I have no qualms with dealing with those of ill repute in our journey, but that particular group is just a group of drunken rascals. I hesitate to see what help they could possibly give that would be better than what we would get here.
But the elves could be useful if we can find something that lights their fire and their soul yet again.
Perhaps.
Perhaps a
But-
sun sword.
Perhaps. You two bring the sun right now. Give them hope when we come and talk to them again. But until then, let us find Arabella's mother and then let's rest for the night. We have many things to do, especially since we have our journey set out for us.
So, really, I would go up to Arabelle and I guess presumably the woman next to her, and kind of lean down and say, Annabelle, is this your mother?
She's like, yes, this is Mama here, and she gestures to Jasmine, who's standing here, and Jasmine is like looking over at Arabelle as you approach, and she's checking her for any scars or scrapes or anything like that, and brushing her hair, and she's like, oh, you've got your hair braided. You must have gotten your hair braided by Granny Griselda. Why are you here? I'm so confused.
Madame, Madame. My name is Liliana. This is Dr. Takesh. We came across your daughter at the Lubash's camp a day or so ago. The gentleman over there, she points at Bluto, was attempting to sacrifice her to a, well, I guess it's not important to ultimately. He was in a grief and mad state. But we saved her and determined to bring her to you, at least, as it seemed the better option compared to what was going on at her father's camp.
And then she looks like she's kind of embarrassed, but at the same time like upset. And she's like, "You must forgive my husband Luvash. He's a stern and he's a very quick to anger, but he's a good man at heart. It's just when it comes to our daughter, he is very protective."
If he was so protective, why did he not follow her or go and look for her? He decided to beat the man who was assaulted.
And Ileana kind of holds her hand up for a second. She says, we need not go into it at the moment, Madame. Luvash's character is, I will say from an outsider's perspective, questionable. But ultimately, our only question is as to the safety and well-being of Eddie Bell at the moment, and as one of the other side of our parents, what you would like done. You wish to keep your daughter with you close at hand?
Would you like us to take her back to her father?
And she's kind of like stuck between. She's like torn between the two decisions. Like obviously, you can tell she wants to have her daughter with her, but there's a reason why Arabelle's with her father. She's like, I fear it's too selfish of a decision if it's my own. I would love for Arabelle to stay here with me, but her place is with her father.
Can you elaborate? Why is that?
Arabelle is a very special child, and she needs to be with her father for his protection.
Can we do like an occultism on the child?
Feel free.
Or like an arcana? Or even a religious thing?
Does she have any special abilities?
I'm legit spitballing here, but I feel like I need...
Did anybody check her for special birthmarks? Like, what's on this?
Hey-oh.
Don't get too excited. That's one skill of the night.
All right, so with a natural 20, I cannot argue with you the fact that you can tell that Arabelle is blessed with the ability to see, much like Madame Ava.
Oh. Is she the only seer of the family seer? I say that loud, like out in front of
Out in front of everybody else.
And you see Jasmine stand up quickly. She's like, shush.
And like at that mention, Ileana kind of steps in close. She's like, Doctor, you said she's a seer?
Yes, and usually those that are given blessings, like myself, and then like she shows her forehead, which she usually covers, and she's like, I was meant to be the next one of the Tekesh family, is she meant to be the next one here?
And Jasmine, without trying to call attention to it, like nods her eyes yes.
It seems to me this is the better place for her to be, though. To be trained by Madame Ava, no?
And
She's asking Doctor to catch that. I'm sorry.
I think the problem is they don't want her to learn. What happens if
That's it.
Strahd gets her? Looking dead at her mom.
and she's like, sometimes the best way to protect something from being taken is to hide it in plain sight.
That's rough.
I have no words.
This has gotten a much more complicated than it seemed initially.
Then who will take over once Madame Ava has moved on?
Well, that's a question for another day. If Madame Ava is to move on, there needs to be someone to replace her. And if that person isn't around when Adam Ava moves on, then we will be left with no visions of the future.
And you will be left with no leader, no matriarch.
Anyone can become a matriarch.
Then who is next?
There can
That's
only be
my point.
one Madame Ava.
Madame Ava has already given us the death card for herself.
And Jasmine is shocked by this, and like you hear the rest of the camp starting to whisper amongst each other as they're hearing your conversation.
And that's fine by me. Understand, Madame Ava seeks justice for the Tekesh family. So the next matriarch.
And Jasmine kind of stands up and she's like, I will caution you not to cause a stir amongst the people here. We are
Stir?
peaceful people.
I am the last of the Tekesh! And then like she just like kind of like throws her hands off and just like walks away.
And you see like the rest of the camp is like, they're all like, they're all doing like that thing. Like you've seen SpongeBob when it's like the caveman SpongeBob. they're like getting ready to go into a panic now.
Oh man. Yeah, I kind of like stomp off like a baby. Like mad. Tears probably like swelling up in my eyes and stuff.
Would Ileana see like that rising panic and kind of the people around her?
Oh yeah, she definitely set this camp to a code orange, and they are on a high threat level at this point.
She would try to chill everyone out.
Like you hear the women talking, they're like, Madame Ava's on her deathbed. Like, what are we going to do? We don't have a seer. And they're all like speaking to each other, and like nobody really knows the answers right now.
These people, I know I'm not one of your own, but please calm yourselves. These are the discussions we are having now, so that there are no issues in the future.
And one of the ladies stands up like, outsider, you have no say in this. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what havoc you've brought to our village.
I'm well aware.
I mean, she's
But
not
again,
killing her, so I don't know why it's her fault.
I'm the scapegoat at the moment.
Basically, they're just pointing at anything that's not them.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm well aware, and your anger is most valid, certainly.
We don't
But
want to end up like the Takash. They're all gone.
That is why we are talking now. Calm yourself. Your panic will do nothing but push you further into a state that you cannot get out of. You will get yourselves killed if you keep your minds as they are. Calm yourself, breathe, and we must talk.
Does anybody want to roll a society performance, something to keep these people distracted for a little bit longer?
If only we had a bard.
I was say, I think that's on me.
I mean, I
just
can
had-
I can assist with diplomacy.
There's a
21.
Winner's rolling 21. 21.
With a not a 21. The
We're
magic number.
ignoring Soleil. 21.
And a 12. We got the.
All right, what are you doing, Lucia, to try to calm these people down?
Actually, I think she would be less talky, more just being imposing, because she's kind of a big, brawny lady with like a cool ram. And as everybody's kind of getting themselves riled up, I'm kind of picturing, so tell me if I'm picturing wrong, but I'm kind of picturing them all still being around this campfire, and the whispers are kind of going around. And she would probably actually just stand up and kind of swing her whatever that I can never pronounce, but is essentially a staff that whistles.
Oh my
And-
lord, you should be able to pronounce that. It's yours.
It's my staff that whistles, and I should probably just name it so I can call it that instead of tripping over what it is every time. So next time, ask me what the name of it is, and I'll have a good name. But it has that like nice, sharp, clear whistle as she swings it back and forth, and she would kind of just use that to get everybody to shut up for a second and see if she can figure it that way.
So once the high-pitched whistle of your staff starts kind of whistling through the air, and you slam your staff against the ground, the area falls like silent.
Oh, there's Zach Rule.
And she would wait just a minute and like look at everybody and kind of do I'm making eye contact, not uncomfortably long, but eye contact with everybody, so they feel like I really am talking to them. I take it serious. Peace. We are all concerned with our futures, but Strahd practices control through fear. Don't allow him to wheedle that fear into your hearts right now. We're all upset. It might be better to breathe and take it back up in the morning, friends.
And with that, like everybody's like kind of calming themselves and getting back to a peaceful moment to try to get themselves back rallied up. And taking inspiration, I like that speech, by the way. And they're calmly like talking and trying to like discuss what the next step is. And they're like, well, if Arabelle's here, then Strahd will come looking for her for sure. But if she's with Luvash, then he's not gonna go to the camp looking for her. And other people are like, well, she is a child. She should be with her mother. These might be her final days. And you can kind of see like Arabelle starting to panic too. Like, what? She's like, what did I just get into?
Mm-hmm.
And Jasmine was like, I was trying to shield her from these problems. I didn't want her to know what her future held for her, what importance she had to our people.
That is most compassionate, Madame Jasmine, but it may be foolhardy. She is most certainly going to be thrust into something far sooner than perhaps you or her would like. It may be better to explain to her what her future holds.
Could I do a religious check on her to essentially speak up her daughter as the leader and how they should have faith in her?
Yeah. Actually, before you roll your dice, how is your speech gonna sound? Like, what are you saying?
So I want to be more like, you have been brought up knowing the power that she possesses, knowing the power that you all possess. Don't let your faith waver now. Be strong. Believe in power. You have made it this far, not by your own understanding, but walking by the faith that you believe in. Trust in it now. more than ever.
Believe it.
In the one of the women stand up and she was like, this lizard man has a point. We've trusted in Madame Ava's scenes and sightings this long. What has Madame Ava foresold in this situation?
Understand that the dawn is here. As I look at Soleil, we will be the light. And with your help, the dusk will come as well.
So when he says that, I'm sort of like mumbling because for whatever reason I haven't been impressed with how they've responded, even though it makes complete sense. Obviously, you live underneath a all-powerful vampire. This is, what you get. But as he says, like, we're gonna be the light, I'm gonna pull out Daybreak and kind of like point it towards the sky, and then as I do, go ahead and pull out my halo so that I'm glowing and Daybreak is firing and
Dope.
With a red shoulder.
I'm in the background. My hand is in the palm of my face right now. Nope.
Is that like performance or like intimidation or?
I definitely don't want to intimidate them. Yeah, if anything,
Or religion?
either like
He's, like,
religion or
inspiring them.
diplomacy.
Yeah, inspiring through his own religion. That'd be kind
Yeah.
of
I like it. Let's
how
go with
you convert people. This is pretty much what we're doing.
I feel embarrassed with this group.
They're just missionaries, guys.
through miracles. Yeah, we're doing miracles here.
You know what? I'm gonna roll with a hero point because that was embarrassing. That wasn't me. That ain't me. That ain't. Oh my God!
Doesn't matter.
What are we doing?
Fine. With the hero point.
It's a crisis of
Fuck off,
faith.
dice.
Yo,
Just said,
21.
nope.
another 21.
21 can do something for you tonight, guys.
What a night. My God.
Yo, so the halo's not as bright.
I know. I like. So the sword's like flickering or something. I pull it down.
Yeah.
I'm like smacking him. Like, what the hell?
got like a little light emote just floating around his head.
That can fuck off, bro.
So the sword's like fuck it up, right? I'm like, oh, whatever. So I like sheath it, and then I'm gonna fucking push an inner
Can I-
radiance torrent into the sky.
I was gonna say, can I use my second hero point for Soleil so he can re-roll it one more
This
time?
shit ain't gonna fail.
I was standing behind him. I'm moving slowly back away, just embarrassed for him. Just, oh no.
They're sitting here trying to convert, and I'm over
Guys,
here
I got
crying.
power.
Yeah, just light the beacon.
Lighten the
Guys,
beacon.
bring it right to us. Like, that's fantastic.
If you want to use the hero point for him as a reroll, I will allow it.
All right, here we go.
Two
It
ones.
truly can't
That's
happen 3
wild.
times.
Well,
I mean, that's not terrible.
that's not terrible.
21 and a 19.
He taps his saber and it lights up.
It doesn't seem like your display has made anything better, but it also doesn't seem like it made anything worse. The one lady was like, all that set aside, what has Madame Eva's reading told us about Arabelle? What are we going to do with her?
Well, that's what we've been deciding all night.
Either choose
I
the
think I
maiden or
would,
choose
at
the
that
knight.
point, speak up and say, we have a decision to make.
It's not
Yes.
really our decision. It's probably theirs.
I would say,
I mean, they said it was straight up ours.
Matt and Ava told us it was our decision.
time out. Lucia would have been presenting the we as like a unified front because we were already having the discussion about like, don't let Strahd bring fear into your heart. We have to stick together, blah, blah, blah. So that we would have been, we have a decision to make. Trying
The
to get
universal
them
way.
invested a little bit. Although I feel like at this point, this kid is going to be, this is Maggie talking, not Lucia, but this kid is going to be screwed anywhere because the ladies get themselves all in a tizzy about, and granted it's scary, but like they get in a tizzy and her dad didn't even bother to come get her. Like, poor baby.
Yeah, she's got a rough. She got a rough life. Feeling pretty bad for Arabelle, man. She got a rough.
Barovia's a rough place.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's a seer, so she's got a big old target on her back.
And I now know the reason why they kept her with the father, because the father's going to keep her safe in his own way, from Strahd. And I'm pretty sure that's like running through Nakia's mind. Is the best bet to keep her alive long enough?
Yeah, she's got to get old enough to get there.
Right, but at the same time, if she's well hidden, like if she's well hidden in the camp of the men, she might be good, and potentially, like, they're not cursed. They can leave Barovia. I'm pretty sure if they get the chance and she's old enough, they can find a way to get her out, just like I was able to get out. But it doesn't.
It seems like their plan is to keep her hidden until she was old enough to take Madame Ava's place. That's my guess.
And that's true too. But then the question is, like, if she's able to take Madame Ava's place, and she's able to have those like she's able to control her sight almost as good as her, will Strahd still want her, or will he use her in a way?
That seems to be their legitimate fear.
Can she not hide in this fucking anti-scrying tent?
She gonna spend her whole life there?
Yeah. Like the tree, if the trees are Strahd, if the land is Strahd knows.
Well, I mean, clearly, like, all right, so is she gonna spend her whole life there? No, but like, Madame Ava is gonna die soon, and if we're rolling her out to be the next seer, then how long does she have until she has to perform those duties anyway? If their goal is not to get her out of Barovia, and she's going to be here anyway, like, why not stay in the tent, get tutored up by Madame Ava? When she passes, she's more informed on what the fuck to do.
And that's the question we haven't asked Luvash. Is that the whole point? Is to find a way to get her out of Barovia when she gets old enough? Can she even leave? That's the other question. Like, they haven't left. They've been on that hill for like the whole time. So it's all like, are they cursed as well?
My fear is how she dies. She did say so. Who's to say that they don't come through this camp and wipe half of them out, and that's how she dies? We don't want the little girl to be here when that happens.
And that was definitely going to be my next thing. Like, we could have been the reason why Madame Ava dies, especially if we keep her here. At least if we take her to her father, he's not going to kill them. And he probably might even pass up Madame Ava in this family here.
I mean, I don't think that she would say she's going to die if we haven't made the decision yet, and the decision is what causes her to die.
That's true. But we know that she won't make it to the final fight. That's right. So the question is, do we want to roll the dice and leave Arabelle here, and Strahd come in and take her and kill the women, or take the women? I don't know. Or do we take her back to her father?
I mean, honestly, I think that there's like valid points to both like choices.
Definitely
I feel
agree.
like
Yeah.
on this, we should maybe just vote, and if it ends up being a tie, then we maybe debate it out more. But I think there's enough valid points to both sides. We just see if there's a majority on it.
I'm gonna bring my points when we actually debate. I'll wait until we get to that point. But
I mean, unless you want to like sway people now.
Well, I guess when it gets to that point to where we would all be sitting together and stuff like that, like she may like Dr. Ikea comes back, you know, she wipes her tears, she's calmed down a little bit. She, you know, hopefully the group and everybody is around the fire. And so
And as you're like walking back to the fire, you kind of hear whispers amongst the women, like that's a Takesh, that's the one.
Probably like a boiling sensation of heat just coming back. But she comes up and she's like, my friends, I think I may not be in my right mind, but I do not wish to use the child as leverage. But I think if we take her back to her father, we may curry favor in a way that could be useful. Especially if her safety is of course on the line, and we do not want the rest of the women here to be burdened by Strahd's wrath. It is
What I've been saying
honestly,
this entire time.
as have I, but now I think of it as more now as a tactician, as a soldier. I feel as though we should take her back to her father and have calmer words now, especially when we bring her back safe and sound. But I do wish to speak to the elves as well and find a fire in their body, in their soul, to join our fight. And maybe they have knowledge that they can glean from these visions that Madame Ava had brought to us. Some form of help.
Let's put it to a vote.
And honestly, and before that, like, she looks to the sisters of this group. I am so sorry for what I have said. Madame Ava gave that in confidence, in my rage came out against you, and I am ashamed of it. I have lost my family, and Strahd did it again and found a way to bring me back here, to take me. But I will not let him take me. Not without a fight. He will know that the Tekish family still run through my veins. And he will see the dawn. And then, like, she kind of like she's gripping her crossbow, because like she knows how to create like sunlight her own way. He will get justice. But I have casted my vote. She wants to be with her father. I say we take her back to her father. No offense to the mother.
And some of the women in the camp are kind of like placing their hands on your shoulders and back and kind of like rubbing your back and trying to comfort you in your moment that you were very vulnerable in front of them. And
honestly, whatever bravado she had is gone. She starts crying again. She's around sisters and stuff like that. She kind of like loses herself. And just says sorry. I know what it feels to lose people.
What is your decision?
So, this is a random question, but we took the cards out with us, right? The maiden and the knight.
the maiden in the night.
What do they look like?
The cards?
Yeah.
That is a random question. The maiden, it looks like a woman who is she's dressed in a nice bustier. It's white, it's clean, and she looks very well kept. She looks like she's happy, and this woman seems like she hasn't had a problem a day in her life in the picture. And then the picture with the knight, it is a very battle-hardened knight. One that's lived a rough life. His armor is dented, it's dinged, it's not shining, and it's not bright, and it's not brilliant. But that knight has fought his whole life, and you can tell that that knight has fought his whole life.
All right. Well, just to go with my own storyline in my head, we're gonna pretend, since I know that and can see them, I'm holding the cards, and I think I would like flip up the card of the night and just say, we have a battle to fight. I think we are gonna need the knight on our side. And that would be that. That's how she casts her vote.
That's 3 for, or 4 actually. Mascara said he's for taking her back to her father, right?
She'd probably spit on the ground after saying that, though, 'cause she didn't like that guy.
So who was the fourth? It was.
Ileana, what
gotcha.
is your vote?
Nikia, Etesian, Lucia, and Mascara. That's 4.
Ileana kind of looks in the fire for a second, and looks back at Arabelle and says, "I do not like it. I do not like it. But if the girl is in danger, then I suppose, as far as the cards are displayed, the battle-hardened knight is the way to go."
What is your decision?
I don't suppose it matters anymore.
You can still make your argument if you like. You might change somebody else's opinion.
I feel as if my decision had been made. What has it been? A day now? 2 days ago? I don't remember. But I don't get a good feeling from Lubosh, and you could argue that Barovia sort of muddies thoughts and feelings and the truth. But I don't agree with working with him. But I will not go against how the group has voted.
You think Barovia is also affecting you too? Just out of character question.
No, 100%.
Got you. I feel that.
Let's also agree with Soleil in that I am not eager to work with Duvash, whether they protect his daughter or not.
A man of faith. I never expected your faith to waver. But the decision is made. In the morning, we head back.
All right, out of character, I halfway considered being like, we should just keep her. Like, we're better
Hey.
than all of her parents.
I just keep her with the group.
Yeah, just
You guys
just-
can always buck the trend. Make your own decision.
Balthazar is your babysitter now. Stay with him.
I feel like we probably get into some real wild
Yeah.
shit that'd be hard to
We
protect
would
us from.
100% come to regret that decision, but that's what I really wanted to
I mean,
say.
we may not regret it. So here's the argument for that. The third choice, right? The choice that doesn't exist.
Right? The card that wasn't pulled.
The card that wasn't there.
Let's go, bro.
I
I'm
mean,
up with a
so
wild card. Let's go.
we don't really know what their intention for the child is, right? If we knew crystal clear she's going to become the next seer, she's going to be transported out of Barovia. Like, right now, we don't know what the choice is even realistically going to, provide. So it's like,
Right.
if
We
I
never
knew...
truly asked those questions either. So,
No, I feel like we did. I feel like we asked the mother if the
well, I'm
intention
talking about
was to.
the leaving part.
I thought
Like,
we
you
did. I mean, it seemed like it seemed like they had no intention of leaving.
Yeah, it seems like their intention was to make her the next seer, but they're just hiding her until that was needed.
So like basically for
That's how I
Soleil,
understood it.
like if we're going to whisper about this third option of, well, we're stealing your kid now because you guys both don't know
We
how
would-
to fucking raise your child, but
Right, we would just tell them that we're going back to Luvash and not go back to Luvash.
well,
we would just,
Soleil would not do that. Soleil would definitely not lie about it, but like-
Lucia would.
it's if they're it for Soleil, it makes no sense. I mean, how long do we actually think we're going to be campaigning here? And I don't mean as like a D&D term. I mean as like, you know, a crusade essentially against Strahd, right? Like if Madame Ava is going to die, she's likely going to die soon-ish, right? So like why would she not? I mean, it seems silly to like either choice if it ultimately leads to her being the next seer anyway. Like, what is 3 months here versus 3 months there or something? You know, like
I think the main argument is that there's potential danger within that small window that could have
So-
huge ramifications.
right. So
Right.
if there's potential danger in the next 3 to 6 months, who's more capable of handling that danger?
I
Them
think the argument
or
is
us?
Well, they
Right.
have numbers, and not
I
only
mean, do
not
they,
only that,
though?
the men they had pretty good numbers.
They,
And-
from
and
what I saw from both camps,
I don't even
appeared as
remember
if
actually. Hold on.
we could handle both of them.
Honestly, I don't know.
It
Um,
seemed like a half dozen to a dozen people, you know,
Right.
which may or may not be true, may or may not be the full size of the camp, you know.
Right. And did we
RP-wise,
see
we
the
don't
full
really
size?
know, but-
Did we didn't see the full size of the camp for Luvash and his crew, right?
I mean, if
we
his
saw-
full size were there, then yes.
That's
Uh,
what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking Levi. Did we see his
I don't know.
full
I don't know
size?
how we would know that. You know, I guess you may have.
I mean,
knowledge of that.
you only saw the men that were out of their tents, but there were more men there than what you saw.
Right. Just like there's probably more women here than what we see around the campfire now, correct?
Definitely, because remember, the Vistani are traveling people. Like,
Right.
if they have
multiple
a camp,
families.
that's not the whole camp every time.
I mean, I would still argue that there is viable strategy for a moving target versus her staying in either camp. I mean, if, you know, while we're going from point A to point B to point C, you know, if
Yeah,
they
no,
don't
it's a
know where we're
legitimate
at,
argument.
then they can't take her out, right?
But then the argument is also Strahd is the land. Strahd sees us when we're moving anyways, and he probably already knows that we're already at this encampment.
Sure, Strahd sees us and all that, but it's like, I mean, unless she's sitting over here in Madame Ava's tent, he sees her now, right? If, you know, she's over in Lubash's place.
If we're
he
following that
sees her.
power fact, yeah.
Right, so it's like, he knows in any one location, a moving target's harder to kill than one that's just sitting in a fucking camp, in my opinion.
But
I
we
mean,
don't know the extent of his power,
Here-
who he's got to fight.
Here's
so on.
here's the fucking break the fourth wall, right? We have a choice. Something in the story is going to happen. At this point, it's almost like, what would be the most fun for us? Where it's like, what do we find to be the most interesting? Because I think, you know,
No, I
we're
agree.
gonna make a choice, and something's gonna happen. Strahd's gonna try to fuck us over at every turn anyway. So, you know.
I honestly don't want her to be in like legit danger. Like, we know if she's with Luvash, we know at this moment if she's with Luvash, Strahd's not gonna go after her at this moment. We don't know if we leave her here if Strahd is gonna go after her anyways, wipe this whole encampment, take her back to Luvash or take her back to his castle. And if we take her with us, we know that we have a set journey that we need to follow right now, and we know that that journey deals with undead, other creatures that we're gonna have to deal with, and potentially abominations, and that's gonna be highly susceptible to her death.
If we're talking
screaming
like
in the background, Annabelle ain't gonna want to come with us.
if we're just talking from a meta
I was
perspective,
gonna say from Arabelle's perspective, like the scariest day of her life was hanging out with y'all.
Right, and if we tell her if we're actually taking her back home, and we actually take her back home, as a tactical thinker, we need horses, we need wagons, we need information that we can potentially get from Luvash. That if we can't glean any more here, we can also get more information from them. It's along the way to where we need to go to the Wizards of Wine anyways. We can take her there, and we know that she'll be safe for the time being. And if we need to get her the fuck out, we can come back for her anyways. We know where she'll be. Because
If I can
I
just
already
be-
made my vote, but like I would point out, like we do not know that she's going to be safe because our whole adventure started because she was not safe.
Oh,
After being with
because of
Daddy
dumb
Luvash.
Bluto here. Honestly,
mean,
that was
yeah.
gonna be my
There are
next
no
thing.
guarantees in
Bluto
any of
can't
this.
come with us.
can I,
Ludo ain't
can I
coming
make
with
a
us.
can I make an argument here, or not an argument, but just like from a meta perspective, if we're going with that,
Hell yeah.
if we're talking about what's interesting, like I'm not really interested in babysitting this kid much longer.
Sure.
To be honest with you,
No, that's fair.
Yo, same
I
here.
don't
Yeah.
I don't want to make a decision and move on.
And that
Fair enough.
legit, I'm still by my decision. Take her to her father. Get a type of boon that we can get from him, which would, in my mind, is horses and knowledge,
For sure.
because it'll make travel easier for us, and then we can get to town before we get hit nighttime. That's in my thought process. That's what I want to use her for. I need her as a bargaining chip. As much as I care for her safety, the meta version of me is like, use her as a bargaining chip.
We do need better ways to travel. We're getting around too slow.
Yeah, because Balthazar can only pull so much.
He could pull her and the
Yeah,
What's
Fat
called
Man.
high
But
card.
I don't want the Fat Man to come with us, to be honest.
I don't want
Fat Man has to stand justice.
Yeah.
He's not, that man ain't come. I was for
Do you want
dumping
him to
Fat
stand?
Man.
Do you want him to stand Luvash's justice or Madame Ava's justice?
Soleil wants Madame Avis. Soleil has no respect for Luvash.
Yeah, and like Ileana was gonna make at least plead, at least a little mercy for the guy, just because of where his mental state was. But that's really it. To Madame Ava, I mean,
Well, yeah. So I guess at that point, like, we've decided she's going back to her father. We can talk about Bluto now, if you want, or we can save that for the morning.
So you guys are going with the night?
going with the night.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
Well, it's 9:55, so yeah. Tell us what happens, man.
All right. So you guys go. Whoever makes the decision goes back into Madame Ava's tent and gives her the night card, and she just nods her head, and she's like, "And Bluto, what will you do with him?"
I guess if we're going with that, I'll ask that Ileana could have brought the card in just to do her argument for Bluto.
All right.
And she said, Bluto must be punished for his transgressions against your people. However, I do ask at least some small mercy for the man. He lost his wife to a magical bag that I believe was cursed, and was in a state of grief and a drunken stupor, to be honest. I just ask a small mercy for him. You should still be punished, but I felt your punishment would be more fair than Lubash's.
Isn't Bluto also a racist?
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, he was starting off some real bullshit.
Let me.
We gotta
So,
film.
like Nakia creeps up behind from the darkness. He is also a racist. He really. And then she like slinks back into the shadows.
So
And Eliana kind of blushes and says, "That well, yes, that is true."
So with that decision being made, two of the Vistani women walk Bluto into Madame Ava's tent, and they sit him in front of Madame Ava, and she places her hand on top of his, and with her foggy and cloudy eyes, she stares into his, and it's like the veins in his forehead and in his face like start to pop out, and they're very visible, and Ileana and Dr. Takesh are both standing in a tent with her, and his eyes roll into the back of his head, and when they roll back to the front, they're clear and cloudy, and Madame Ava releases his hand and pulls it back from her own, and her eyes roll forward, and her eyes are no longer cloudy, and with that you can assume that she took his sight from him.
Oh damn!
Wild.
Madame Ava, I like her.
And she says his penance is served.
Yeah, I'm just bounce.
And of
Leave,
course, Bluto, being the bumbling, drunken oaf that he is, kind of like stands up from the table, and he stumbles back, and he's like, he's like, everything is black, and he's like trying to find his way out the tent. He's like bumping into everything.
Eliana would lead him out. She would help him.
The two Vistani women like grab him by his arms and like lead him out the tent, and they put him on the road and tell him go west.
There is still time before the darkness comes.
And with that, Bluto is punished.
That is a hell of a punishment.
More like Bluto is no more.
Yeah, he's done.
Bluto
He's a
walking
dead man.
off into the fucking
Into
graveyard.
the sunset.
She
Hold on,
gave
hold
him
on.
the death sentence.
The only act of kindness I give him is that before I hand him like one of the pies that's left from the cart. Enjoy. That's it.
Oh man, poor Bluto. Did he deserve it? I'm not gonna say yes or no, but he's on his way.
Yeah, may your last meal give you sweet dreams before your death comes.
I've got to tell you guys, I'm absolutely shocked you guys went with the knight.
Just like from it was. I think in game and out of game, there were like just very good arguments made for why she needed to be back there, like just for her
I
own
don't think
protection.
any of us like it. I'm already like mad at this campaign for like making me do things that I don't like.
Oh yeah, no, Eliana hates it. She fucking hates that.
I
she has
want to
go
like
through that
kick
there.
this dude in his shin when I hand his daughter back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Soleil will
absolutely.
not be taking part of any sort of negotiations, or he will be at the edge of camp. The horse that he uses, if they get horses, will not be a Luvash horse. His horse will, of course, have just appeared in the field.
So it appears because we walking with it. We
Right.
bring it to him.
Yeah,
and
it's
we'll
not a
lie and
Luvash
say,
horse. That's a
Hey,
different
we
horse,
found
though.
this. We found this
This one was on,
on the other side of the hill.
Right.
Then we brought it for you. It's a beautiful.
Actually, I
thing.
didn't think this was gonna go this way at all, because it's really been like 1 against 5 until right now.
I'm telling you, like when you guys all made the flip, I was like, wow, absolutely wow.
Well, technically,
I mean,
I kept it from the beginning. Like I wanted to take her back to her father, but I agreed with the group and we walked with them. Like it was just one of those things.
Her father
just-
is shitty, but her mama wasn't any better. Like
And
her
her mo-
mama did not help the argument. If she was like, "Oh my God, my baby, we're gonna take you in and we're gonna train you like we should, and we're gonna
mean,
make sure
the-
Strahd can't never get you," but they were just like, "Oh, but she was safe with Luvash."
Right.
Yeah,
entirety-
their reaction made me had the same thing.
I feel like
their,
the
their reaction
entirety-
was so lukewarm.
The whole decision point, it seems like, for me, is just like, we actually think Luvash can help us with things, whereas we don't think we can get anything from these people.
That's literally my thought
Yeah,
process.
that's
Besides a place to sleep during the night to be safe, and that's about it.
I mean,
don't- Go ahead.
in character is definitely like from what Maggie was saying, like just because the women were just kind of like they just didn't really have any like real reaction to it. They were very lukewarm. Again, if they had been more like happier about
Right.
about Arabella being there and that they could like help her out or train her, then I'd argue to keeping her there. But the fact that they were like, no, why'd you do that? Why'd you bring her here? It's like, well, all right.
So then I'll ask the same question for you. Like, what is Barovia doing to Ileana at this moment? Like, for 6 months here, what's it been doing to her?
That's an interesting question that I don't have an answer to at the moment. I think it would definitely be making her more, I guess, not willing to do what is necessary, like becoming a little bit more mercenary in her thinking. I guess it's leading her that way. You know, like the thought process here was definitely, well, if this girl needs to be protected, these women don't seem like they really are interested in that. So I guess
100%.
I'll have to take her to who's going to protect her. Like she's not really interested in like negotiating with Luvash or that camp. She doesn't really care about that. She would just be more like, who can protect this kid?
That is 100% where Lucia is. Like, I speaking as my character, I don't give a fuck. Like, if we get horses, if we get elves, I don't care. But like, the point seems to be that this kid is important, and they're trying, rather unsuccessfully, I might add, to keep her alive. And since nobody wants to babysit her for a whole campaign, you're back to the guy that seems to have been taking on that job. Like, I don't care about the resources, but she's apparently, one, she's just a kid, but two, she's apparently a very important kid.
Right.
I will say this, that Dr. Takash, her reactions to the camp, when she started spouting out loud who Arabelle was, kind of changed the decision of the camp.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, did we perceive that?
I mean,
No.
I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but like as soon as she was like, well, she's Madam Ava in the future, and Madam Ava's like, nobody in the camp knew Madam Ava was dying until you said it out loud.
Oh, interesting. So they would have probably been for keeping her there until they knew that. They're like, no, she's got to be protected.
the funny thing too is like, what if we didn't go save her?
Right.
Then how important of a kid is she?
Is she? I mean,
Ain't
that's where
that
Lucia is for real. Like, we only got drug into this whole mess because her daddy couldn't keep an eye on her, and instead of going to find her, he was beating up the person who lost her. Like, sure, have him in shackles when you get back if you're that cruel and bloodthirsty and you need to like fuck somebody's life up because of it. But like, go get her, you dumb. And he didn't do that either. So she's really just mad and thinks Balthazar should take care of this kid. But I won't take everybody.
You'd
So
rather her
then-
be raised
so-
by a goat than her own father.
Right. Yo, Baldur's
better
Gate 3 situation. Dark urges. Do we kill the girl then?
Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think
That's a
Barovia
road
took
I
me
didn't
over that
consider
much.
going down.
I'm just saying.
His name isn't Masquerade for no reason.
Bluto was literally having that thought process. Sacrifice her to the waters.
I will say this for Luvash, like he's put there for a reason in Strahd's camp, and if he's just leaving willy-nilly to go about travel the world and do whatever he wants to do, then he's not doing his job for Strahd.
Makes sense.
I don't know how to
Yeah,
interpret
I mean,
that, Levi. I mean,
I still feel like he could have sent his group of dudes out to go find his kid
Yeah.
instead of just letting them get drunk. That's just me.
hey man,
So
y'all are
Max-
the ones that voted for him, all right? Not
No,
my
I
child
voted-
parent.
I voted to give her to Balthazar, and through that, me, because Balthazar belongs to me.
I say absolute shocker for me though. You guys had me blown back in my seat.
I mean, I'll be honest. I voted that way to move it along.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to move on.
All right, let's keep it going.
Right.
Well, we have our heading,
We do.
so next time.